October 26, 2015 meeting to order. Would everybody please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have some very special guests tonight, all the way from Kameoka, Japan, in celebration of our sister city's 30th anniversary. I was so pleased to meet all of the delegation, and tonight we're going to do a proclamation for the delegation. Whereas a sister city relationship was established through the auspices of the Sister Cities International between the city of Stillwater, Oklahoma, USA, and the city of Kameoka, Kyoto, Japan, on November 3rd, 1985. And whereas, since that time, the bond between Stillwater and Kameoka has been strengthened through many years of successful exchanges and award-winning programs, and many lasting friendships have developed between the people of our cities. And whereas the cities of Stillwater and Kameoka are celebrating the 30th anniversary year of the Sister City Partnership, with a vice mayoral delegation traveling to Stillwater for anniversary ceremonies in October, and a mayoral delegation traveling to Kameoka for festivities in November of 2015. And whereas the citizens of Stillwater extend greetings to the Kameoka delegation and pledge to continue the close relationship with the citizens of our sister city to promote friendship, exchanges, and peace and goodwill between the peoples of our cities and countries. Now, therefore, I, Gina J. Noble, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, in cooperation with the Stillwater Sister Cities Council, do hereby extend best wishes on behalf of the citizens of Stillwater to all the citizens of our sister city of Kameoka, and encourage all to join in welcoming the following people: Mr. Sumio Nichiguchi, Ms. Michelle Leone, and the Vice Mayor, Mr. Akira Katsumi. Would you please join me? Can you turn around this way?
Thank you, Mayor Noble. Kameoka delegation, Stillwater Mayor Noble, Vice Mayor, City Council members, city manager, other elected officials or appointed officials on the podium, and ladies and gentlemen. As most of you know, Stillwater has had a long-standing relationship with Kamioka, located in Kyoto Prefecture in Japan. This evening brings to a close the activities that have taken place over the past 3 days as we've celebrated the 30th anniversary of this relationship, and it has been for 30 years a wonderful relationship, and we're sure that that will continue to be the case. The three members of the delegation from Kamioka here to participate in the celebration are the ones that were just introduced and received a proclamation. And at the conclusion of this event in just a few moments, we will sadly have to say goodbye to them as they leave for Oklahoma City to catch a very early morning flight tomorrow morning. This time I would like to recognize the members of the City Council who have worked very, very hard to make the events of the past 3 days possible, and it's been a very successful 3 days. City Council, just the City Council members, would you please stand and be ready? The chair of the Kamioka City Council would like to make some remarks at this time. So, Mr. Nishiguchi, would you please join me here at the podium?
本日は市議会にお招きいただきありがとうございます。
Thank you for inviting us to join in on the proceedings of the City Council today.
私たちは10月22日にスティルウォーター市に到着し、オクラホマ州立大学ホームカミング祭市民都市迷惑締結30周年記念式典など出席させていただき、滞在中は市長様をはじめスティルウォーター市市役所の皆様、姉妹都市委員会の皆様に大変お世話になりましてありがとうございました。
Since arriving to Stillwater on the 22nd, we have been delighted to participate in events such as the Oklahoma State University's homecoming festivities and the 30th anniversary celebration of the sister cities' relationship between Stillwater and Kamioka. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the mayor, to all the staff at the City Hall, and to members of the City Council for making our stay an enjoyable one.
ただ残念なのは、パレードにおいて多数の死傷者が出る交通事故が発生したことです。亡くなられた方のご冥福を心からお祈りをいたしますとともに、負傷された方の一日も早い回復を願っています。
However, our hearts grew heavy upon hearing the news of the tragedy at the parade that took the lives of some and left many injured. We sincerely offer our thoughts and prayers to those who have passed and hope for the fast recovery of those who were injured.
残念ながら本日スティルウォーター市に別れを告げ、明日帰国の途に就きますが、11月にはノベル市長様、ダリングトン副市長様、ジョーンズ姉妹都市委員長様が亀岡市にお越しになるとお聞きをしております。11月に再会できることを大変楽しみにしております。
Unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye to Stillwater as we are heading back to Kamioka tomorrow. However, I understand that we will be welcoming a 3-member delegation, including Mayor Noble, Vice Chair Pat Darlington, and Chairman Larry Jones to Kameoka in November, and look forward to our reunion then.
結びにあたりまして、今回、私たちの訪問にご尽力をいただきましたスチルウォーター市の皆様に心から感謝をいたしますとともに、亀岡市とスチルウォーター市の友情がますます深まることを記念し、私の挨拶とさせていただきます。ありがとうございました。
In closing, I would like to once again express my sincere gratitude to everyone in Stillwater for going above and beyond to make our visit a most wonderful one. May the friendship between Stillwater and Kameoka continue to grow and deepen as we move forward together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Arigato. And now all of the counselors have, do you want all of the counselors down for a picture? Okay, yeah. Gifts, okay.
I apologize for this impromptu interruption, but the mayor of Kameoka would like to express his apologies for not being able to make the trip this time, but would like to present a letter to the mayor of Stillwater, Ms. Gina Noble, to express his thanks for inviting us to Stillwater and for being such excellent hosts. Presenting the letter from Mayor Kuriyama of Kameoka to Mayor Gina Noble. Thank you very much. And following on, we would like to present gifts to the 3 council members that we have yet to meet until today. So if you would mind coming up, that would be great. I understand that one is not here today, right? Councilor Weaver. Okay. So, I am not. Can I get your names again? Elaine. So, presenting a hanging scroll to Elaine Zanani from the city of Kameoka. Next, we would like to present to Councilor Miguel. Sorry, what was it again? Nahara, the gift from Kameoka as well. And if somebody could receive the present on behalf of Councilor Joe Weaver, that would be great. Presenting to Councilor Joe Weaver. Thank you very much. You can rip it up, it's okay.
Kaya.
It's a bit of
Got that one.
So this hanging scroll actually is a scroll of Tanabata, a festival that occurs in Japan in August, or in some prefectures in July. So it depicts the fictional story. It depicts the fictional story of the cowherd and the maiden weaver that's taken from the Chinese legend and incorporated into the Japanese legends as well. And next, we would also like to present personal gifts from the chairman of Kamioka City Council, Mr. Sumio Nishiguchi, to everyone seated in the audience today. Sorry, to the City Council of Stillwater, if that's okay. Please be seated until I call your name. Could I get Mayor Gina Noble to the floor?
That's for Joe. Yeah, I'll get it to him.
So, Mr. Sumio Nishiguchi is just going to explain the significance of the gifts today, and I'll be interpreting right after that.
これは私がスティルウォーター市を訪問すると決まったときに、私の妻が、ぜひこれを、手土産にと言って一生懸命手作りで作ってくれました。これを渡したいと思います。
This gift is actually a personal gift from Mr. Chairman Nishiguchi's wife, who, upon hearing that he'll be making this business trip, handmade this gift. So we would like to present. It's actually made out of actual kimono material, and she only had a month to complete all of this gift. So we hope that her heartfelt thoughts are conveyed with the presentation of this gift. Presenting to Mayor Gina Noble. If you could get a picture, maybe towards that end. And next, we would like to present another gift to the Vice Chair, Ms. Pat Darlington. Is that okay?
Oh, wow. That matches Pat.
Presenting to Vice Mayor Pat Darlington. さんにありがとうで伝えてください。
I'll keep it protected till you get it.
And next to the City Manager, Mr. Dan Galloway, I'd like to invite you to the floor to present, for Mr. Sumio Nishiguchi to present the gift. It kind of gets smaller as the time gets tighter when she had to prepare the gift, so please excuse that. Next, I'd like to invite Councillor Zanotti.
Yes,
Zanotti? Okay, to the floor. Thank you. I'm glad I pronounced it correctly. Councilor Najira. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Close enough.
Close enough? What's the correct one?
Do what?
What's the correct pronunciation?
Nahara.
Nahara. Okay. Sorry, could Councilor Nahira stay for a minute and perhaps accept the gift on behalf of Councilor Joe Weaver?
Yes.
That's okay? So as I was saying, as the time grew short, materials also grew short. So it grew smaller, and sadly, this one lost the stick. But it's still the same. It's still the same. And I'd like to let everybody know this one took the most time because the details, every single little patch, had to be done individually. So please let Councilor Joe Weaver know that despite the missing stick, the pattern is certainly much more worth it.
It's 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
As our very special guests from Kamioka prepare to leave, would everyone in the audience please say in unison, sayonara? One more time,
Sayonara.
Means goodbye.
Also, arigato.
Mayor Noble, Vice Mayor Darlington, my wife and I might say mata raigatsu kamioka ni ohashimasu, which means we'll see you next month.
Safe travels. Safe travels. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I want to go to Kamioka for Christmas.
Councilor Nahara, you have to give Councilor Weaver his gifts. And there's no exchanges or givesies back.
Oh, wait, before you leave, what does this say? Come again? Is that English? What does that mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
it means a festival in Japan. It's the name of the festival.
Oh.
And it depicts the story of the cowherd and the weaver, maiden weaver, that can only meet once a year. So people hang their wishes on the trees because it is said that if you hang the wishes on the tree, it's written on the paper that's depicted on the scroll, your wish will come true.
Oh, okay.
It happens in July, but it also sometimes happens in August, depending on which calendar you follow.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Bye. So I hang that on my tree? I hang that on my tree?
No, you hang your paper wishes on a tree.
Oh, okay.
This is a depiction of the
This is
papers.
Okay, and so there is one thing before we start, before we go to number 5, general orders. As you can see here tonight, we have 5 candles. 5 candles.
One large and the 4 small.
1 large, 4 small. And it is, of course, in remembrance of those who lost their lives this weekend and the so many victims who were injured. Some are still in the hospital. And Our hearts are breaking for them and for their families. And I would like to read something and just to let everybody know that we all feel the same way. Saturday began as a celebration in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We were welcoming thousands of loyal and true Oklahoma State University alumni and fans for America's greatest homecoming celebration. And as the Grand Marshal of the celebration, I, along with my son, Braxton, were in one of the first cars. We saw thousands of smiling faces and heard so many nice comments and saw so many people saying, "Go Pokes," and OSU. Everyone was kind. Everyone was happy. Everybody was celebrating life in Stillwater. We were celebrating friendships and family and the cowboy spirit. And then the unthinkable happened. As the mayor, I saw the tragedy unfold, but I saw much more. I saw the faces and the hearts and the expertise and the professionalism of our first responders. And the first responders were many people. They were ordinary citizens. They were LifeNet. They were the Payne County Sheriff's Office. They were the Stillwater Police Department. They were the Stillwater Fire Department. They were Stillwater Emergency Management. They were the Oklahoma National Guard, and they were the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And I apologize if I've left anyone out. I am so proud of their work, and I know that the tragedy would have been much worse had they not been right there, and had they not had such compassionate hearts and such professionalism and helped everybody who was a victim. They were leaders and they were heroes. The doctors and the nurses and the staff at Stillwater Medical Center were also heroes that day. I also witnessed remarkable leadership from Oklahoma State University and from the Oklahoma State University Alumni Association. The City of Stillwater, Stillwater City Council, and the Oklahoma State University administration, staff, students, Alumni Association are all working together. We are mourning together. We extend our deepest sympathies to the victims of the families and their families. Our hearts are heavy, but we are family. We are a team. We will get through this together because we are Stillwater strong. Now I'm going to move to item number 5, general orders. Mr. Galloway.
Yes. This evening, last Monday night, council approved a contract with ADG, Urban Planners, for a downtown project. This evening, we have Mr. Mike Mize with ADG, representing ADG, and they're partnering with Pegasus. Mr. Sean Garrison is with him as well. And I'd like to ask the two gentlemen to give you a presentation overview of what's going to be happening with the project over the next few months, and give you a chance to ask some questions. And this is kind of a kickoff session tonight. Mike Mize, if you would, Mike.
Mayor, councilors, Manager Galloway, just briefly on behalf of ADG and our entire team, I'd like to echo the sentiments that you spoke so well with respect to the tragedy on Saturday.
Thank you.
And Angela, how do I pull this up? All right. Got it. Okay. Is it going to be? There it is. Okay. Thank you. We're delighted to be here. We really look forward to this opportunity. we're going to give you kind of just a brief presentation regarding what we expect. Hopefully that'll coincide with what you expect and the next steps that we're going to take to try and get there. Just as a big overview, I mean, the project really involves 2 specific blocks in downtown Stillwater, but we can't do our job and the job that I think that you expect without looking at that in the context of the entire downtown area. So while the focus and the final report will be with respect to those 2 blocks, it will take into account the entire context and fabric of downtown Stillwater. So, one of the things that we hope to do, and Sean will get into this a little bit more, is during this process, which should be about a 9-month process, we're going to try and do some intermediate wins and develop some goals to show how we can do some things quickly and cost effectively to try and make this project a success early on in the minds of you and the residents of Stillwater. I'm going to really just go through some of these first slides very quickly. You've seen most of the information about ADG and Pegasus before, but we are teaming together. ADG is an Oklahoma City firm. We have 60 folks in the firm. We've worked on a number of large projects in the Oklahoma City area, including Maps for Kids, Maps 3, Norman Public Schools bond issues, and once again, Maps for Kids. And with that, I'm really going to turn this over to Sean Gerritsen. Sean's the planning expert that we brought on as part of our team, and he's going to do the rest of the presentation, tell you a little bit about Pegasus and about what our goals are.
Thank you.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good evening.
It is a somber time to be here. I was remarking, I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is the first time I've been here since my brother was going to vet school back in the 80s. And I live in Austin, Texas. Our company, Pegasus, is based in Austin, Texas, but we work all over the country. So I'm the youngest of 7, but half of my siblings went to Oklahoma State, the other half went to OU, and then I went to Washington, D.C. I figured that was an even split, right? What we do as a firm, you've seen a lot of this in our proposal, but we are an economic development firm and a land planning firm and a land development firm. So you're getting all 3 of those hats when you're working with us. I will have 3 other members of my team with me on most of our trips. So I want to just kind of go through just a little bit to let you guys know who we are. We've won a lot of awards for our downtown plans. We work a lot in cities that have that town-gown relationship issue that you all have here. If you haven't heard that phrase, it's the relationship between the university and that downtown. I believe urban design is a big way to address a lot of that. So we work in a lot of those areas in downtown. We do a lot of workforce development, working all over the country. I have a 5:30 flight to Boise tomorrow morning, where I'm going to be for a couple of days. And again, downtown revitalization. This is one in San Marcos, Texas, which has a university of 35,000 students, not too much different than the size of OSU. And on the development side of things, we're actually working, we're opening up the first co-working space, which is sort of like a business incubator in downtown San Marcos in the old Hays County Records building. I think there's opportunities for a lot of that entrepreneurial efforts in the immediate downtown area here. We're working on a $15 million mixed-use project in East Austin right now. We're the developer for that. We're working on a $20 million agrarian development just north of Austin, where you have a 5-acre working farm and 80 small cottage units. And so this is a project that we highlighted in the proposal because it's very similar. It's in Meridian, Idaho, just adjacent to Boise, Idaho, where we did a lot of things for them. They kept hiring us. They liked the work that we did. They liked our very inclusive process. But we first started off getting hired to do an economic development strategy, and then they asked us to do a little bit of a downtown plan with an eye towards implementing what they're now calling a multi-use center project. And so when we were talking to Dan earlier today about this, they had an old, they wanted to have a performing arts center downtown. They didn't know where. We did a lot of research, went into a lot of buildings, and found that one of the old churches downtown is a perfect reuse for that. So we're looking forward to going into the old junior high here and seeing what kind of opportunities it has for potential reuse. So let me just kind of get into a little bit about our project. So there's Mike and I here tonight. He represents ADG. I represent Pegasus. We have a couple of other firms that are part of our team, Planning Design Group, Red Plains, Traffic Engineering Consultants. They're going to be involved a little bit more in the latter part of our project. But what really are we trying to solve and achieve here? It's not just about the 2 blocks. The 2 blocks are going to be that much more successful, as Mike mentioned, when you're able to get better ingress, egress from the university, for example. I think there's some good opportunities to look at what are the best connections from the university to these 2 blocks, from the main street to these 2 blocks. The downtown is definitely competing with a lot of the retail you have further east of here. And trying to identify what the best market is for you guys. We'll be doing that. And what's the best way to activate this area, and again, not just about those 2 blocks. The other thing which is different than what you've done in the past is we use a model called the Envision model, which will allow us to, once we get into probably 3 different scenarios, we'll be able to analyze each one of those scenarios in terms of its impact economically to the immediate area, jobs created, sales tax, property tax. Each of those scenarios is going to be different. Each one is going to provide different benefits. We want to provide that to you and educate you all so that you can be more informed when you make a final decision on which plan you want to move forward with and how best to implement that. So how is this going to be different from some of the other efforts that's been done? I would just say it's going to build upon the other efforts. You have really great policies, great visions in a lot of the plans that have been done dating back to the early 2000s. And so we're going to be building upon all of that. We really feel like we can kind of just get going right away because you have a lot of good ideas already. But a lot of it is really about what a lot of the stakeholders who we're going to be meeting with really want to see, what's the market say, and what's the market suggest that property wants to be. So we are coming back for our next trip, November 9th through 11th, which is 2 weeks from today. And so we're going to be relying on you. You just took a big sigh of breath there, didn't you? 'Cause I was just going to say, we're relying on your staff to help us with the logistics of that. And you might have an email already. So we're going to be, we call this the drinking from the fire hose phase, where we're just consuming information and stakeholder input. So we'll have a team of at least 4 people here for 2.5 days, just focus groups and interviews, one after another, regarding this property and this site. And we'll have several other trips that you can see, some of which are still to be determined. And I'm not expecting you to read all this, but we're pretty good about organizing a pretty complex project, whether or not it's a MAPS project or a very detailed, large-scale downtown plan. And we're going to stick to this process. I do think that we can finish quicker than what we have in here. I understand you have some change in city staff, and this is a lot of people that are changing, right? The school district, the chamber person, yourself.
The hospital.
It's a lot of leadership changes, a lot. Anyway, so we're ready. We're excited to work with you. We really wanted to introduce ourselves, introduce the project, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. But do you have any questions or anything you want us to be thinking about in the meantime?
I have a question about
Yes.
the focus groups. You said one after another.
Yes.
Focus groups and personal interviews?
Correct.
One-on-one?
Right.
How do you select those people? How are you going to find them?
Well, so some of the interviews are with you all, and I thought that it would be good to have 2 or 3 together instead of just one-on-one interviews. The focus groups, there's about 6 different focus groups that we're going to have, and then I'm going to rely on you all. I know you went through a branding process recently and have a lot of those names and contact information, but so tourism, for example, is one. Downtown business owners is another one. Arts is another focus group. Commercial brokers and developers, not single-family subdivision developers, because generally their feedback is very, very different than an infill downtown developer. Those are some of the examples. Also, one with your planning staff, urban design, another one on mobility, another one with Oklahoma State University, where facilities people, housing people, mobility people. That's what I remember off the top of my head. And so I think you guys have those individuals already, but we're helping you to kind of categorize those groups. Does that answer your question?
We met today, we've got some pretty extensive lists and mailing lists and distribution lists. When we did the branding, we tried to hit all those groups. But in the meantime, between now and the first week in November when they're coming back, I would appreciate council if you can think of any, individuals you might want to make sure we have on the list, or groups, or any of that. And Angela and I will get those organized and help them get a schedule together so they can make sure they touch every group. And they won't hit, they'll touch as many as they can the first trip, and any we miss, they'll pick up in the next one. But we don't want to leave anyone out of this process whatsoever.
That was my
That was
exact
mine too.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've emphasized that all along in discussions with them. That's a key, important part of this process.
We're big believers. You want to keep your enemies close, if not closer than your friends. And not that there's any enemies or landmines, but there always are a few little landmines. But we want to be as inclusive as possible from the get-go. So I appreciate you saying that. And if you can actually provide those names, like tomorrow, would be ideal, so we can get started, because that is only 2 weeks away.
She's nodding her head.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's,
That'd be great. That way we'll know what.
Thank you, yes.
Prompts other ideas.
Yeah.
You'll email or,
Okay.
Anything else?
Pretty exciting.
Yes.
Well, we're very excited
yeah,
too.
yeah.
And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Sean. Mike, thanks you both for being here.
Thank you all for the opportunity. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to ordinances. On second reading, Mr. Dorman.
Ordinance number 3330, an ordinance amending the Stillwater City Code by amending Chapter 29, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 1, General, by creating Section 29-21, texting while driving, definitions, and by creating Section 29-22, texting while driving, and providing an effective date and declaring an emergency. And we'll actually need 2 votes on this if you want to use the emergency clause to make this go into effect on November 1st.
Okay, so the first motion has to be,
The first motion would be to adopt the ordinance. You've approved it on first reading, and now this would be to adopt the ordinance.
So move.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 3330. Please vote. And ordinance number 3330 is adopted with a vote of 4-0.
The second vote will be to adopt the emergency clause. And what we will actually do is we will publish this on November 1st. And that's the date that it will go into effect. So it will be in Sunday's news press. So by passing the emergency clause, you will enable that to happen.
Staff recommends that action, too.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the emergency clause. Please vote. And that, the emergency clause is adopted with a vote of 4-0. And
That's basically it.
That's
This
good.
ordinance will become
Okay.
effective on Sunday, November 1st.
okay, and I forgot to announce that Counselor Weaver was not able to be here tonight, so he'll be back next time. That takes us to reports from officers and boards. Mr. Dorman,
Nothing to report tonight, ma'am.
Mr. Galloway.
Nothing further other than to echo the comments that have been made. It comes from the city staff, those involved done a tremendous job, but all 600 city employees, our hearts go out to the families, and it's a tough time, but Stillwater will pull together and help them.
City councilors.
I would just like to remind people that we do have counselor office hours every morning this week. Tomorrow morning, Counselor Zanotti and Dr. Peak will be at Daylight Donuts.
At 6th and Perkins.
6th and Perkins, right. Counselor Zanotti is not going to eat any donuts, so keep an eye on her.
That's right.
And we'll be at McDonald's on McElroy on Wednesday, Red Rock on Thursday, Bagel Shop and Panera on Friday. So come
8 to
get
9,
8 to 9:30 in the morning.
Right.
Get all your questions answered about whatever, in particular
And-
transportation.
And you can also, if you forget the times or the dates, all you have to do is log on to stillwater.org, and you will find all of the information that you need.
Yeah. It's even on the marquee at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I just want to echo your comments, and then I also want to say thank you to you, Mayor. I think you've done a fantastic job, and I think in times like this, it reminds me that we're, especially us, are just humans. We are just people that love serving our city, and over the last couple days, since Saturday, and when I first saw you at 12, right before the press conference, I could tell how hard it was affecting you, but you were knowing that people were looking to you and your leadership, and it has been so great to see you serve in this time. And our citizens, everyone, I'm sure, is so appreciative of your service, and I just want to say that I know it has not been easy for you, but I appreciate it so much, and I just thank you so much for your leadership, and obviously mine and my wife's prayers are with the victims' families and those who are lost, and as well as the driver and her family. I know they're going through a tough time, and it's tough for everyone in our community, but I've been so amazed at the response and the coming together, and it's exciting to be a part of such a great community, and we will move from this, and hopefully good things will come from it, and we'll continue to be a community that surrounds each other. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Today I visited 2 of the survivors. Alan is about 12, and he's ready to go back to school for a day. And Kimberly is in her early 20s. She is on the mend. Her dad was with her. Her sister was also hit and is in an Oklahoma City hospital. She's a little bit worse off. Her mother is with her. The family has such a positive outlook, and I know we don't know because we haven't been through this, but it was so nice to meet them. And Kimberly actually pushed her sister out of the way, or her sister would have been hit on impact and probably wouldn't be here. That's what her dad told me. And Kimberly just looked at me today and said, that's what big sisters do. So, so many heartwarming stories of survival and so much heartbreak for those who didn't make it. So everybody continue to be kind to each other and continue to take care of each other. We are going to move to the last agenda item, which is an appointment for an interim director to replace Mr. Galloway when he leaves us on December 1st. I move to appoint Norman McNichol as the interim city manager effective December 1st, 2015, and to increase his current base salary by 20% during his tenure in this capacity.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to, we're not really electing, what's my wording? To appoint Norman McNichol. Please vote. Mr. McNichol, you are appointed with a vote of 4-0. Councilors, is there anything else?
I'd just like to say this is a kind of hard too. I mean, you said to
Yes.
replace Mr. Galloway.
Yes.
There's no replacing Mr. Galloway.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate his service, his many years of service. With that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second to adjourn the October 26th meeting. This meeting is adjourned with a vote of 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Oh, thank you.
On November 10th, Stillwater voters will consider the renewal of the current half-cent transportation sales tax through October 2026. Many cities choose to collect their transportation funds through sales tax because approximately 1/3 is paid by non-residents who work, visit, or shop in Stillwater. To reconstruct 2 lane miles of a city street, the city budgets about $1 million. Currently, the half-cent transportation sales tax generates approximately $4 million annually. The city manages 440 lane miles of pavement, 28 bridges, over 60 signalized intersections, more than 7,000 traffic signs, and 30 miles of bike lanes and bike share lanes. In order for the city to manage its assets through the transportation sales tax program, these projects are divided into 3 separate categories: asset management, safety and mobility, and corridor improvement.
Asset management is basically, in the transportation department, what we do to maintain our transportation system. We have 3 major categories of assets: our pavements, our bridges, and our traffic signal system. All these things need regular maintenance and repair. It's a core focus of our program. Safety and mobility is how we make our transportation system work. First of all, we need it to be safe for all the users on the corridor, whether that's vehicles, freight, bicyclists, pedestrians, transit. And we also need those folks to have reliable movement throughout the city. Corridor improvements is where we put together asset management and safety and mobility on, say, a mile-long corridor or larger, where we're basically maintaining an asset, making it safe, and providing mobility for the future. Examples of this include recent reconstruction, say, of Country Club Road, upcoming projects that we have on Western Road and Perkins Road, where we look at those mile-long corridors to make widening and improvements.